So in today's lesson, I'm going to explain more about ESXi settings. We'll type the correct IP address and we'll type the root and the password. So here, as I said before, we have some configuration, hardware here. We can see networking, host name, IP address, and DNS, default gateway, and the rest of the configuration. And here is the virtual networking. And here again, we have another great information that you can see them here, and they are very clear. And here we have the performance summary for CPU and memory. Here we can actually download the vCenter server, and here we can create a virtual machine. We can shut down the ESXi, just hit shutdown. Your hypervisor will shut it down. So again, here you can reboot the ESXi, you can do a refresh, and here you have the action for actually create the VM, like here, the services, enable SSH or enable console, enter to the maintenance mode, lockdown and permissions. And here we have the system. We can actually see the advanced setting here, auto start the virtual machine. That means if you install a virtual machine and suddenly your ESXi lost the connectivity or power or whatever, that means whenever your ESXi boots again, it's going to actually start your virtual machine after, for example, 60 seconds or 120 seconds, as you can see here, which I'm going to talk about it later on. And here are the swap files. By default is enabled, and time. Here you can edit the time, or you can use, for example, your IP address of NTP server or public NTP server, which is network time protocol server, that you can set your ESXi time with these NTP servers. So again, here we have the hardware, the device. Actually, these are the drivers, and the licensing. Here we will use the evaluation license, and here we can apply the license. Again, you can say action, apply the license. And here is the packages actually that we installed, or we can install update from a URL or specified path. And here is the services. Actually, you can disable, but I do not recommend you disable DCUI or direct console user interface, which is this one. So whenever you heard DCUI, that means the yellow screen of your ESXi. This one. So this is, you can stop it. Actually, you will only stop this screen, but again, you can browse your ESXi, but I don't recommend that you stop it. You can stop or start whatever services, something like here we can start SNMP. As you can see, it cannot be started, and I get the error. And here the security, here is the acceptance level. Here you can actually change the setting. And here is the authentication. You can join it to the domain. Later on, we're going to cover this section. And this is the certificate user. You can define another user and assign the role for that user and lockdown mode. So later on, we'll talk about users and a role in another section. I'm going to talk about it more and how you can actually create a user, just for example, monitoring your ESXis and they cannot access your virtual machines. So here we'll go to monitor, and these tabs actually you can monitor the tasks, logs, and notifications. And in most cases, we will use performance, for example, for network, for disks here. And here is, you can install the virtual machine. Later on, I'm going to install a virtual machine for you. But first, we should have the new data store. which is next lesson. I'm going to define the data store to install a virtual machine. And here is the networking, which we have a great section that I'm going to describe VM kernel, VM network, and virtual switch here for you to understand it better in a real environment.